Announcing today that we have decided to temporarily halt certain amounts of Medicaid funding that are going to the state of Minnesota in order to ensure.
Tonight, hundreds of millions in Medicaid money on hold to our state as part of an aggressive crackdown on fraud from the White House. The vice president said today it's a wake-up call for state leaders that they need to properly vet providers to make sure they're legitimate. Governor Walz says it's part of a campaign of retribution. Joe McCoy joins us now with details. Joe?
Julie, when J.D. Vance was asked today if withholding this Medicaid funding is legal, the vice president said he is quite confident that it is. Vance says that the providers have already been paid by the state of Minnesota and that what is being stopped are the reimbursement payments from the federal government. In a massive step to pressure Governor Walz and Minnesota leadership to get a handle on the widespread Medicaid fraud across our state.
This is disgraceful.
Vice President J.D. Vance announcing the Trump administration will temporarily pause $258 million in Medicaid funding to Minnesota.
All we need the governor and the administration in Minnesota to do is something quite simple, which is to show that before you give Medicaid funds to somebody, you're taking seriously whether they provided the services that they say that they're providing.
This is not a problem with the people of Minnesota. It's a problem with the leadership of Minnesota.
Dr. Mehmet Oz, who is the administrator for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, says the government completed an audit that was sent to Governor Walz.
Governor Walz has 60 days, sir, to respond to our letter.
A state commission third-party report released earlier this month deemed 14 Medicaid services as high risk for fraud, with 90% of Minnesota's autism services flagged as potentially fraudulent.
We will give them the money, but we're going to hold it and only release it after they propose and act on a comprehensive corrective action plan to solve the problem.
Governor Walz responding on X saying, quote, "This has nothing to do with fraud. Trump is weaponizing the entirety of the federal government to punish blue states like Minnesota. These cuts will be devastating for veterans, families with young kids, folks with disabilities, and working people across our state." The Minnesota Department of Human Services, which oversees state Medicaid programs, says since the fall of 2024, the department has implemented new processes and reforms to detect and prevent Medicaid fraud. They went on to say that deferring this money will, quote, significantly harm the state's healthcare infrastructure and the 1.2 million Minnesotans who depend on Medicaid. Julie.
All right, lots more to come on this topic, I'm sure. Thank you, Joe.